welcome to the Media Box. I'm joined by Gobnait NI MHUIMNEACAIN and Cecilia DALMAN, who are co-rapporteurs on monitoring local democracy in Croatia. Thank you so much for joining me here at the Media Box. First of all, I'll start with you, Gobnait. So your report does acknowledge some key positive outcomes since the last monitoring visit in Croatia. But it also did note that Croatia remains relatively centralized. What have been the main factors that has led you to come to this conclusion?
Yeah, well, I guess I'll start with what they've done already. So the last visit was in 2016. So they've got rid of the state administration and they've decentralized that to the counties. So that's good. There's also an improvement in consultation with the local and the regional level, especially in regards to finance. So there are two big things. Also, in regards to mergers, they've made incentives for that. So they're all good things. But as you say, it's still coming across as quite centralised. There's a huge reliance on the personal income tax. And if you imagine also, a lot of these municipals, there's about 328 of them, 428 of them, and almost 300 of those have a population of less than 3,000. So that is going to impact how much they'll get from the personal income tax as well. And you need to take into consideration rural decline. So that needs to be focused on, and maybe more emphasis on the mergers would help there. That's one issue, the personal income tax and the municipals. That they're the two main ones, really. The supervision as well. There seems to be a lot of supervision on the local authorities, so much so that if they don't pass a budget, central government have the power to dismiss a mayor, and that precedes it going through the courts, a court's judgment. So that's definitely something that needs to be looked at.
Okay, so Cecilia, I'll come to you now. You have noted in your report that the reform of 2020, the administrative reform in Croatia, does have some positive outcomes. So can you explain a little bit more about that?
Yes, before 2020, Croatia had a large amount of state administrative offices in counties. And there are 20 counties in Croatia. And in 2020, they were all abolished, and staff and the tasks were transferred to the counties, which was very well perceived. And this is, of course, one way of making the regions, the counties, more independent, of course. But just like Gobnait told you, the control work was still left, and that is quite extensive. The city of Zagreb is different to this. The mayor there took over the state responsibility when it comes to administration. And it also underlines the differences for some regions that have huge problems with finance and other difficulties, whereas the larger, as is naturally Zagreb and the larger, more central counties, they have better opportunities.
And how far do you think the reform has gone to mitigating some of the socio-economic disparities among regions?
I think it has taken quite a lot it's gone quite some way, definitely, because there is now an independent option to start project, apply for financing and work rather independently. But still, there is this dependency on the tax, just like Gobnait told you. And there is the need for reform. Obviously, this has to be looked into, because the differences and the inequalities becomes very obvious. But on the other hand, there is one thing that struck us both as very positive, and there is a huge optimism coming from the fact that the EU funds make it possible for them to invest in education, things like that, that is really needed. That kind of social infrastructure that is needed. And quite a lot of small municipalities, like the ones with only some thousand, less than 3,000. They work together, so there is a way of cooperating to solve problems on a local and on a regional level, which I think is very positive.
Great. Gobnait NI MHUIMNEACAIN and Cecilia Dalman, thank you so much for joining me here on the Media Box.
Thank you.
Thank you.